Safaris. Safaris.
Let's go. Ciao everyone, my name is Abby and I'm going to be your safari driver today through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now if you look above your heads in front of you, you will find an animal spotting guide. I can't promise we're going to see all those animals today, but I can promise we're going to do our best to see as many as possible. We usually have pretty good luck. My friends, as we enter the reserve today, I do ask that everyone remain fully seated at all times. This does include any little ones who are lap sitting. Now they are welcome to lap sit, but please do not lift them up in the air like baby Simba. Please do not let them pass them around like a hot potato. And please do not let them stand on the seat and lean up next to you, because that is not sitting, that is standing. These roads are really bumpy, so for everyone's safety, I need you fully seated at all times. Even if we're momentarily stopped, I need you fully seated at all times. And my friends, these are real wild animals out here. They do not like any whistling noises, kissing noises, hey giraffe, look at me, or making any of the noises you think the animals might make with your mouth. They're not going to like them. They're not going to respond to it. In fact, it's just going to stress them out and cause them to leave. So please do not call out to the animals in any way. They do not like it. Thank you so much. Now it's a 2-week safari. I hope you packed plenty of water, but please do not do anything eating or drinking wise other than drink water on this truck, because the animals can't smell it. They're going to try and come eat it, and that's never good. They don't like smelling food they can't have. So please refrain from eating or drinking for these next 2 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be a long time, but I think you can do it. Water's perfect. Other than that, please refrain from it. Now this first part of the reserve we're entering is the Little Achiri Forest. Animals in this part of the forest will often use camouflage as their main means of defense against predators. Over on your far right side, I see an okapi. Okapi do have black and white stripes on their legs similar to a zebra, but they are not related to zebras, no. Their closest living relative is the giraffe. Okapi are solitary animals. Very rarely we find more than one of them at a time. The most common exceptions being a mating pair or a mother and her young. Over on your right hand side, all along that bridge over there, those coppery brown animals are bongos. Bongos are oftentimes called the ghosts of the forest. That's because they're able to move about almost silently. Both male and female bongos grow horns that tilt backwards at an angle. That helps them move through the underbrush as quietly as possible. And if you look over on your left-hand side on top of that ridge, back towards that tree back there, keep an eye out. Yeah, I can just make out a black rhino. Do you guys see him? Look over your left shoulder. It's moving about. Yeah. Now, black rhinos, they can weigh around 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. And they have V-shaped upper lips that are prehensile, meaning they can use them to wrap around objects like food and pull them into their mouths. Also on your left-hand side, back behind that bamboo, I see some light gray animals. Those are greater kudu. Now they do look like deer, but they're not. They're actually a type of antelope. And I can tell that those are all females because none of them have horns. Only the male greater kudu grow horns, and they can be about 6 feet long. This next part of the reserve we're entering is the Safi River. The Safi River is a watering hole that's home to many different types of animals, lots of whom will gather both on the land and in the water, so keep an eye on both places for any animals that may be here today. Over on your right hand side, kind of hard to see, I do see a Nile hippopotamus. Those hippos can grow to be around 5,500 pounds. They can eat around 80 or 90 pounds of food per day, which sounds like a lot to us, but given their size, it's not that much. On your left-hand side, on the island there, the big gray and white birds are pink-backed pelicans. They get their names from the little spots of skin on their back that during mating season blush pink. After mating season, both male and female pink-backed pelicans will take turns nesting on their eggs. Keep an eye out over on your left-hand side too. I see lots of shadows moving about underwater. That could only mean there are more hippos. Now hippos can hold their breath for about 8 minutes, and they will move about by walking along the bottom of the riverbed. Hippos are herbivores, meaning they eat plants and grasses and things of that nature. They don't have meat in their diet, but they are very aggressive and territorial animals. On your left-hand side, I see some Nile crocodiles. Those crocodiles can grow to be about 20 feet long. And if you see one with it, sit down. If you see one with its mouth open, he is not smiling at you. He's probably just overheated. Crocodiles cannot sweat like you and I can. When they get too hot, they cool themselves down by opening their mouths and releasing excess body heat out that way. On your right hand side, that really big tree is a baobab tree. Baobab trees are sometimes called upside down trees. That's because it looks like they're growing upside down. They're able to withstand long periods of drought by storing water in their trunks. And to help conserve water, baobab trees only produce leaves about 3 months out of the year, remaining leafless those other 9. This next part of the reserve we're entering is the savannah, and it's home to some of Africa's most famous animals. As we round this corner, keep an eye on your right side, I see some giraffes. Giraffes are the tallest animals in the world. They can reach heights of about 20 feet tall. And they are the mammal that needs the least amount of sleep. Giraffes only need to sleep for around 20 or 30 minutes per day. Even though their necks are super long, they have the same number of bones in their necks as we do, which is 7. Their necks have 7 bones, our little necks have 7 bones. That's really cool. For every foot of height a giraffe has about an inch of tongue. So a 20 feet tall giraffe has a 20-inch long tongue. And their tongues are prehensile, meaning they can use them to wrap around objects like food and pull them into their mouths. If you ever happen to spy a glimpse of a giraffe tongue today, make a note of the color. It's not pink like ours. It's a bluish, blackish color. That's because their tongues spend so much time out of their mouths that if it weren't so dark, they could potentially get sunburned. Over on your left-hand side of the mouth of that cave, I see some African wild dogs. Those African wild dogs are pack-hunting animals, and they are the most successful predators in the world, with about 96% of their hunts ending in success. And they're sometimes called painted dogs because of the way their coats look. Looks like they've rolled around in a bunch of paint. Over on your far left side, I see some sable antelope. They are some of the only type of antelope that, if threatened, they will stand and defend themselves instead of running away. They're actually the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve because we will stand and fight with these animals. We are not going to run away and leave them behind. On your right and left hand sides are some termite mounds. Those termite mounds are hard as concrete, but they're pretty porous to allow termites to move about inside of them. Elephants will often rub their tusks up and down on termite mounds, hoping to file them down and get them into shape. Kind of like how we occasionally cut and file our fingernails and toenails. And up ahead on your right and left hand sides are a lot of giraffes, including some young ones, it looks like. So I can say, oh, because they're precious. Oh. Now the giraffe here on the reserve are Maasai giraffes. Just like there are different types of dogs, there are different types of giraffes. Maasai giraffes are distinctive for their spot patterns. Some spots jag outwards, some spots jag inwards. No 2 spots are alike, and no 1 spot is perfect. That's okay. That just lets us know they're Maasai giraffes. Looks like as we round the corner, more giraffes over on your right. They really are everywhere today. That's awesome. As well as it looks like also on your right hand side towards that far tree, those little animals, those are springbok. Now the hair on a giraffe's tail is 10 times thicker than the hairs on our heads. And their tails are basically giant fly swatters. They're able to flick those pesky insects from all across their body. Now friends, we're going to pass really close by a giraffe on your right. I'm not going to stop because we're going to be so close, but make sure you're getting a picture if you want. Looks like he's bending down to eat some grass. Yeah. Beautiful. One last giraffe fact before we move on. My favorite fact about giraffes is that a group of them is called a tower. Over on your right hand side, you can see those little springbok again. Now, they are the fastest, among the top 10 fastest land animals alive. They can run at speeds of about 50 to 60 miles per hour. On your right hand side, those gray animals are white-bearded wildebeest. They are sometimes called new, G-N-U. That's for the noise that they make. Kind of make a new noise. Also on your right hand side, those animals with the really big horns are Ankole cattle. They're some of the only domesticated animals on the reserve, meaning that they can actually live on a farm. And even though their horns are really big, they're not that heavy. They're hollowed and honeycombed on the inside to help them stay as light as possible. Depending on the size and shape of the horn, it only weighs around 5 to 10 pounds apiece. Up ahead, on your right hand side, really close, if you guys are taking pictures, now's the time to get your cameras ready. I see an African elephant. You can see one around here? Isn't he beautiful? Male African elephants can grow to be around 12,000 pounds. And they can eat around 300 pounds of food per day. See what he's doing there? He's trying to break that stick so he can fit it into his mouth. Okay, so they can eat around 300 pounds of food per day. Eating all that food every day has gotten them into some trouble with farmers over in Africa, because those elephants were going onto the farmers' land and eating all their crops that they had grown. Now, wanting to help with this problem, researchers with the Disney Conservation Fund discovered that African elephants are actually very scared of bees. So they flew to Africa, put beehives along the fences of the farmers' land, and now those elephants stay away. There's plenty of food for them elsewhere, and the farmers have their crops back, as well as some extra income from selling the honey that the bees produce. It was a pretty simple and peaceful solution that benefited farmers, elephants, and bees. Over on your right hand side, I see some tusk marks on that clay. Now I can't quite tell if those are old or new, but that's a good sign. There may be some more African elephants up ahead. They'll often eat clay like that to help supplement their diet and get extra minerals into their system. Kind of like how we take our vitamins. And it's some of those minerals in the clay, specifically one called coltan, that are responsible for elephant habitat destruction in the wild, because that coltan is used in everyday devices like smartphones and tablets. So to keep up with demand, so much of it is being mined out of the earth, and it is almost exclusively found where elephants roam. One super easy way we ourselves can help protect African elephants and their habitats in the wild is to recycle any old smartphones, tablets, or other smart devices whenever we're done using them. Help get that coltan back into circulation. Over on your left hand side, I see some more African elephants, and it looks like right behind that mama, there's a little one. Aww. And my friends, these are live animals. I get asked that a lot. Yeah. Live animals. Both male and female elephants grow tusks, but they're kind of like our adult teeth. If they fall out for any reason, they're not going to grow back. That little one there, isn't she cute? Yeah. Well, African elephants actually have the second longest childhood out of any animal. So we have the first longest. Our childhood lasts around 12 to 13 years. Our childhood lasts around 18 years. Theirs is going to last around 12 to 13 years. She gets to be the little one for a good long time. When an African elephant it gets too hot, flapping its ears can actually cool it down about 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And over on your left-hand side, there's an elephant by the water drinking. Isn't that cool? Now in cartoons, elephants will just suck the water straight up through their trunks. That's not actually what happens. They'll bring it up into their trunks and then squirt it out in their mouths, just like that one's doing there. Kind of like if you've ever gone to a restaurant and had a straw in your glass of water. You put your finger over the straw, you put the bottom of the straw in your mouth. Exactly like the same thing. Over on your left-hand side, there's some greater flamingos. Those greater flamingos are the lightest pink of all flamingos, but they're not born pink. They're actually born gray. They'll only develop their pink color over time as they eat briny shrimp that contain the mineral keratin. It's the keratin that gives them their pink color. So the more they grow, the more they eat, the more keratin gets into their system, and the pinker they become. In a group of flamingos, it's called a flamboyance. Over on your left-hand side, I see a mud pit. Now, I know it's not the most beautiful thing you've seen all day, but it's very important to animals like rhinos. Just like our skin can get damaged from the sun, so can a rhino's. They will wallow in mud like that, get it all over them. It's going to stay on their skin and help protect it from the sun's harsh rays. And speaking of rhinos, take a look over on your left-hand side under those bushes over there. You can see that's a white rhino. You see it's coming down. All right, come right on down. Yeah, maybe it's usually beautiful. There Isn't it beautiful? Now, white rhinos, they get their name not from their color, because look at them, they're not white. They get their name from the Afrikaans word weit, meaning wide. And that's referencing their lips. They have very wide and very flat lips, especially compared to other types of rhinos. Yeah, you gotta keep your eyes peeled. You never know where the animals are gonna be coming from. Over on your left-hand side, straight up ahead, you see a Y-shaped tree. And that Y-shaped tree is a cheetah. And if you look over on your left-hand side in that far kind of left corner over there, there's a couple of more cheetahs. Now, cheetahs are the fastest land animal alive. They can run at speeds of about 60 miles per hour. And they can reach that top speed in just under 3 seconds. They're some of the only large cats that hunt during the day. To help them see, they have black markings under their eyes that attract the sun's glare downward, kind of like built-in sunglasses. And my favorite cheetah fact is that they're the largest cats that still meow. If cats grow any larger than a cheetah, they're going to roar. Over on your left-hand side, this large group of rocks is called a kopie. Sometimes large cats will use kopies as perching points to get above the savanna. Keep an eye out for prey. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled for any large cats up there today. Over on your far right side, I see it's another white rhino as well as that little animal laying down next to it. It's a bontebok. We should get a little bit better view as we come around this next corner. So hang tight, but look at that beautiful face. Isn't it wonderful? Now, my friends, I don't see any large cats atop that kopie today. A lot of large cats, like lions, are nocturnal, meaning they're most active at night. But our last safari does depart at 9 p.m. tonight. If you want to come back, go around again. No two safaris are ever the same. The animals make sure of that. You never know what you might find. Over on your left-hand side, I see a warthog right up there in the middle. Yeah, laying down. Now, warthogs are actually very light on their feet. They'll often trot about with their tails straight up in the air. And warthogs are burrowers. They'll usually scooch into their burrows booty first, so their heads and tusks can stick out for extra defense. Over on your right-hand side, I see those white rhinos again. I thought we might get a little bit better view. Oh yeah, look at that one right there. Isn't it beautiful? Now they're pretty blind. They can only see about 10 feet in front of them. But to help make up for that, they have a very excellent sense of smell and hearing. Their ears will often swivel about, sometimes in multiple different directions, as they listen to everything that's going on around them. You can see that little bontebok again, little animal that works under that tree. There's some ostrich eggs. And Mama Ostrich is around here somewhere. Don't know where, but she's probably behind a bush or something. Yeah. Oh, over on your left-hand side, there's another bontebok. Now, the bontebok, in the sunshine, their coats have a very purple and shimmery look to them, and they are so beautiful. People wanted them for themselves, so they were poaching the bontebok. In fact, it was thought that all hope was lost that the little bontebok would go extinct, until it was discovered that years earlier, a farmer put a fence around his land, intending just to mark his property line, but in doing so, he accidentally kept about 20 bontebok inside, safe from poachers and predators alike. And since that happy accident and its discovery, their numbers have risen so much that they are no longer on the endangered species list. And they're back in the wild. And their story gives hope to a lot of other animals who are facing a similar threat of extinction to the one the bontebok faced so many years ago. My friends, it looks like we're coming towards the end of our safari. Hope you had a really great time today and saw some amazing animals. I know I did. It's been a pleasure being your guide through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve today. Once again, my name is Abby. And if you want to learn more about conservation efforts to help protect animals like the ones you saw today or others out in the wild, please feel free to talk to any villager over in Harambe about the Disney Conservation Fund.
Hi, thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe and like and comment below. Thank you.